Hello. Welcome. Hello. I am hoping that I am live. I never know, guys. I absolutely never know if I'm successful at getting this done. And I've done it a few times now, like, I don't know, about half a dozen maybe or something. And, I get to the point where I'm looking at the screen and I think, yep, I'm on. Yeah, I'm live. And then I second guess myself and I'm like, oh, wow. Am I? Because I just don't know. So anyway, we are here to do a few things today. And I was thinking about doing this in kind of like a short form and posting a video as opposed to, hey man, hey Boris, I need to hold on a second. Well, because I need to actually move my chat window over closer to me so I can actually see it. I think that's good. I think I can see that. I'm not. Yeah, cool. I'm not very good at this whole like seeing thing. Hey, okay. Matt's here and Jake at Linux. Awesome. Darth, hello. Okay, so I did not have time to do everything that I wanted to do prior to when I set the 4:15 time slot. I figured, yeah, I'll stream maybe 45 minutes and be done at 5. And so I didn't actually get. I usually take some time at the very beginning and do an installation. I've already done the installation, but I didn't, as far as the Debian net packages. But I wanted to install because I have been working at refining the window manager scripts that I have been working on. So today I think I'm going to be like looking at the BSPWM just to make sure it works more than anything else. So let me git clone my BSPWM github.com/ and then BSPWM setup. Okay. And then let's look at that. Okay, I think everything is here, but let's go ahead and look at the installer for a second. It has changed slightly, okay? Because I was doing it, I wanted to make it more consistent. The DWM one is kind of like the one that I have been working on, and then I wanted to make the awesome WM and the BSPWM as well as the OpenBox ones a little bit more streamlined too. So now I've added a few things. The idea of this section, guys, is to allow people that are wanting to install the scripts outside of Debian to have a better shot. So I put in kind of case statements that says, oh yeah, I only want the config to be installed. Now, if it's outside of Debian, you're on your own when it comes to packages that are required for the installation. I think what I'll do is I'll attempt to like export what I think at some point. But here, I wanted to also make sure that the scripts were a little bit more kind of like streamlined in terms of a section. So right here, for example, just the core packages, you can see that, the stuff that I think is super important. And then the UI packages, so that I have actually a better way to kind of keep track. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate you, buddy. A better shot at like keeping track of things that may change over time. And then, file manager. So I use Thunar. We're going to talk a little bit more about Thunar later because I think that I'm going to show you how I've been like doing my non-traditional file management. But we'll get to that later. And then so file manager stuff, audio packages, and then utilities, and so on, terminal packages. By the way, Suckless Tools comes with a lot of things, including, it does not come in with ST, but it does have like SLock and dmenu and a few other things that you may just want. So that's why the Suckless Tools is always kind of like part of my installation. And then you've got fonts and so on. Now, and then it just runs through that list, okay? So, well, you're not as old as me, Jake. That's all I'm saying. Darth. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, okay, so it's going to run this package installer. It's going to go out and get. So this installation is actually not, it's not part of this particular install, this GitHub repo, okay? It's actually going and getting it from my Butter scripts, which is a different repo. That way I can kind of maintain them separately. And I think I talked about this last time. Now I have changed WesTerm. WesTerm I used to have just the I guess it was just the stable. There we go. That's the word I was looking for. Stable. Because, right, Matt? Not old, stable. So the reason why this has changed is because from the stable till now is about 16 months, thereabouts. And so I have not wanted to deviate from that until recently when I tried what is, I guess, is considered the nightly version of WesTerm, which is faster and more streamlined and probably has a lot of stuff that I haven't even discovered yet. So I changed it from installing the stable WesTerm to the nightly WesTerm. I've been using ST more and more for like my secondary terminal, mostly for scratch pads and things like that. I didn't think I needed it. Plus the fact that once you patch ST, the configuration is built in, and you don't, like with Tilix, for example, I always had to go in to the, I had to go into the menu and change it the way I liked. So I chose to just kind of like, let me change it the way I like, and then just leave it and never have to touch it again. So that's what that ST is for. It's going to install 12 nerd fonts, and then it's going to install the themes. And then you have a choice. The login manager will allow you to install LightDM or whatever you want based on your needs. I choose LightDM because it's light, basically. And then bash RC. And then the optional packages. Again, I'm going to redisplay this one because I have been working even more so on the optional packages. Okay. So let's go ahead and quit that, and let's hopefully this will work because I haven't really tested it in full yet. So do you install? Yes, I do. And I guess I do need that, right? Okay. So I'm doing my best to look at the chat and look at the screen simultaneously. So anyway, I thought I would be adding like some like bling to it as far as the way it looks as it kind of like flows by you on the screen. But then it was just like, what do I run the risk of making it look prettier or having it more functional? And so from my perspective, I'm just like, screw that. Why does it have to look awesome going past your, the text scrolling up as you're going? Okay. Yeah. Well, fair enough. The one thing that you can do with Debian, and by the way, we're all kind of waiting on Debian Trixie to come out this summer, as Debian 13. I mean, they've been on a hard freeze now for probably 6 weeks, I want to say. I thought it was maybe mid-April where they actually went to the hard freeze. Um, and I think, obviously with the goal of going live, I mean with the stable branch change sometime probably in July, I want to say. Um, and then, and like I don't have a, my perspective has always been the same. I really don't need the latest packages. It's just, to me, it's I'd rather have the stability and not have any issues at all. But no, I get that. I mean, because there are certain things that you like, wow, that would be really nice to have a latest, the latest and greatest. And that's what some of the things that I've been doing in terms of scripting has allowed me to kind of bring in newer packages. For example, like we've talked about many, many times, the NeoVim that you have at Debian Bookworm is 0.7 something. I don't even know what it is, but that's completely unusable. It's truly unusable. In this, where we stand today, it's not possible to use that old of a NeoVim package. But there are other examples too. That's just the one that comes to mind every single time. Yes, and you know what? That's a good point, Matt, because Flatpaks, when you're running Debian stable and you want the latest packages, you can run Flatpaks with no problems and, keep that stability and just work off of Flatpaks. Yeah, to each his own. I would choose not to. That's just my personal opinion, but I don't fault anybody that wants to go that route. In fact, it's probably a really, really good solution for stability versus the latest software. Okay, so we should be getting close to the bottom of the necessary packages, and then once it gets that point, it should run very, very quickly through the rest of the install. Now I need to, for Matt. I mean, I haven't. I've been neglecting to do my Qtile build, and I should. That makes me think that I'm going to actually write that down while I'm thinking about it. Instead of continuing to, because I think I've gotten to the point where I genuinely like the four projects that I've been working on mostly, most of the time. And that would be BSPWM, DWM, AwesomeWM, and OpenBox. And so I definitely wanted to make sure that OpenBox had, and that if somebody was not a tiling window manager fan, could use that OpenBox. In fact, I probably should have done that today. But overall, yeah, Qtile is such a good WM. I should take more. That's right there. It just said actually the Wes term nightly just got installed, and say yes. So since I'm actually, see, that was an interesting departure, because I don't know if you guys saw that, but basically I'm running ST on my BSPWM. And so what I wanted to do was go to a different project, pull that ST from that project and install it on this one. It sounds really easy. It's not, when you're scripting, it's not straightforward, but got it done. I'm still writing. I see where you're talking about with Hyperland, Matt, but I'm still writing Qtile down for maybe later this week. I'd be curious to know once because once Trixie comes out, I'm wondering if I go the Hyperland route. I don't know that I will. But it's possible, I guess. I don't know. We shall see. Especially if it's stable. That would be the one thing. If it's stable enough for me to make it a primary. Okay, so here we go. And we're getting to that point where the scripts are allowing you to interact. And so for me, again, I don't need like SDDM or GDM3 or, I mean, light DM to me is kind of like the lightest but feature rich. And you can definitely install themes with light DM. So I always choose it. I probably should try to use something else just for testing, but not while I'm on stream. Jake says I should not do it, so I listen to Jake. That's a good point. Yeah, i3 is super simple to build. So yeah, i3 should definitely be. Yeah, I probably will have all of them at some point. Well, that's not true because I didn't install. Sorry, I did a script rather that would install like what's the ones I'm missing right now? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. Well, i3 and Qtile obviously, but I was thinking one of the older ones. Shoot, I'm drawing a blank. Herbsluff, no, it was not part of my original stuff. DK was definitely a part of my original, but I was actually thinking more like, oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to look it up because I can't not know. Open box. Bookworm scripts. Here we go. IceWM. I could not remember IceWM or Fluxbox. That was the other two. IceWM and Fluxbox were the other two. Okay. So again, I've been working on this Butterscripts one. So I'm going to go into the installers here. Now, this is an interesting mental exercise more than anything else. So I took Genie out of my regular install and made it an option instead. But I wanted to install Genie with my curated plugins, and I wanted them to basically become active out of the box and use a specific and dedicated color scheme. Now, I have not tested this yet, and so that is something I'm hoping will work. And so what it's going to be doing is installing Genie with the plugins, and then making those plugins active and changing the color scheme. I don't know if I had it. I don't know if I had it change the font, and if I didn't, I will probably do that in the future. So, but I'm going to go ahead and say 1, and hopefully this just works. Okay, so these are just all the packages necessary for Genie to work, and I'm really curious how it gets to the end. So it's got the plugins that I want, not all of them, just the ones that I want. Because if you want all of them, it's really easy. You just say sudo apt install Genie-plugins or whatever, and it gives you the whole kit and caboodle. Yeah, I see what you guys are saying in terms of like Wayland compositors. And so let me read this real quick. Installed plugins, Custom colors. Yes. Shows hidden files and dot files. Tree browser toolbar positioned at the bottom. Default set to West. I'm very pleased. I'm very pleased with this because this is exactly, I didn't want to have to like spend like a shit ton of, a lot of time in actually like modifying the overall look and feel of Genie every time I install it, which is a lot basically. I wanted it to just kind of like work out of the box. And so we'll see once I reboot. So, but overall, this is encouraging. Okay. Now, since part of this is about Firefox, I want to make sure that because I've already installed Firefox ESR, I wanted to get the latest and greatest. I know, my bad. I know. All right, so I am going to, and by the way, I did change this. I used to install Firefox using just the binaries. I am going to just start putting in, I changed it so that it's using and changing the source list so that it does get updated. So I used to think, well, once it's installed stable, don't need to update. I changed my mind basically. Okay. So it is, oh wait, did that not work? Let me try that again. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Shoot. Okay, sorry. So 2. All right. And then did I hit 1? Oh, it's already installed. So I'm wondering, crap. Okay. So it thinks that the Firefox that it's already installed is the latest version of Firefox, and that is not true. So we'll have to install that later, and I'll let me put that down. Firefox thinks ESR is latest. Okay, so I'll have to make sure that that changes. Okay, so let's just go ahead. Installing Discord, not that necessary on this. Let me go ahead and install FastFetch real quick. Okay, that's installed. And it put a couple nice like configs for the FastFetch. Definitely going to install NeoVim. We talked about this last time. There are 2 choices here. And one is to install the version of NeoVim with my plugins and so on. And then the other one is to actually just like build NeoVim from source, creating a deb package, and then installing that deb package without any plugins. So for me, it's a 5. Okay. So hopefully it's still 0.11.1 is the newest version. And then that should be good. Let's go back to the main menu. Okay. So let's go. I don't think I changed too much in the apt packages. In fact, I'm pretty sure I didn't touch it. So, but I did modify a couple things because I didn't want printer and Bluetooth stuff to show up as apt in this part of the installer. So I don't want anything here. I'm not sure if FlameShot was already installed, but I'm just going to go ahead and install it. And then I'm a big fan of QIMGV, and that should be all. I don't need another terminal. That should be clear. And then I don't need any other text editor. I will take 1 and 2 here because I do actually like both MPV and VLC. And then let's go ahead and install MKV Toolnix. That should be fine. Let's just go with that. And here you have a choice of a lot of things. I actually will take 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, and 13. Oh yeah, I did add this one. Okay, so do I want to install LibreOffice? No, not today, I don't think. And now you can install like another thing. Like if you wanted to install what have you, I'm just going to say, doesn't even matter, does it? Well, I think I already said bat, so let's just say NeoFetch. It doesn't even matter, okay? And so you see the list of things that are going to get installed right here, okay? And there you go. So everybody doing okay? On this, the last day of May 2025. See, yeah, Johan, actually, NeoFetch, it was just an example because FastFetch is actually already installed. That's, so both of them are going to get installed here. All right, I don't need system support, Bluetooth, or printer stuff, so I am just going to say okay. And let's go ahead and reboot. All right, well, that took close to 30 minutes. Yeah, I could have done either one. It didn't actually matter. So, okay, here we go. Now, here's something I actually had somebody ask me about. It's like, hey, there's something wrong. When I tried to log in, it didn't work. And let me show you why it did not work. Okay, so I'm going to log in. And it's going to go, uh-oh. Oh, no, I guess it didn't. Never mind. I was expecting it to fail. Okay. Well, this is actually, I need to make a couple changes here as well. So let me write that one down. BSPWM. I mean, even though it's there, I wanted to change actually I wanted to change each one of these to, well, first of all, I don't like the spacing on this at all, but I was just going to have, if it was active, then just show that. If it was empty, then not show it at all, basically. So the workspaces, I was just trying to make sure that, so I wanted to change this and see if I liked it better. Regardless, it's here. Let me change that back. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let me go ahead and open up Genie. Since I changed the script, I'm hoping, yeah, right there, it actually changed it with my colors. Okay, so there is one thing that needs to be changed though right away, and that is the position of the markdown. Oh, actually, I have to go into that, don't I? I have to go into plugin preferences and say markdown and make that a message window and hit apply. There we go. Okay, so get that out of the way. Okay, so what am I doing here? I forgot there was some, oh yeah, config, BSPWM, polybar, and I actually, let me just uncomment this section here because I think that will just kind of fix this a little bit. Oop. And let's save that and let's restart. Okay, there you go. It looks much better now. All right, so because I wanted to try something a little bit different. So anyway, my Genie looks like this because I made a change, and no, it did not take my font suggestion. Sauce regular, and let's make that, and let's move this up to 16. Okay. So there you go. Anyway, let's go back over to 1. And I wanted to talk about files today, okay? I wanted to talk about file structure as well because let me go ahead and open up Wait a second now. Let me think about this because if I open up Firefox, for example, you know what? Let's, yeah, I definitely need to fix that. Okay. But I can do that some other time. I don't actually have to, I think I can just use this version of Firefox and I'll be good to go. So anyway, let me go over here. Actually not. I'm going to go and I have a TrueNAS scale server running, okay? And I wanted to go into this because I wanted to talk a little bit about TrueNAS and how it's set up for me. And sorry. So I have storage set up and in two different ways, okay? There is a mirror here for this cold store. Cold store is basically my archive, okay? And it has about, I don't know, 7.13 gigabytes of storage on it. And then I have my Griff share, which is what I use every day, and it has a total usable of 3.51 terabytes. Hi, Mark. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this is because I am simply using my TrueNAS scale for basically all of my stuff rather than having it local. So when I go and I open up my Thunar, let me go ahead and say show hidden files just so. I want it to basically just show my, especially over here in the places, I wanted it to just show my my TrueNAS scale directories. Okay, don't know if that makes sense to anybody else, but this way I can kind of keep everything. And so if I do have a catastrophic crash on my local machine, my my NAS is actually hosting all of my critical docs. So I don't know if that makes sense to you guys, but to me, it kind of, my head makes sense to me, okay? So let's talk a little bit about how I get this accomplished, all right? And how easy it is to do it this way, plus and have it basically create a, like, it's exactly like working locally. I guess that's my point, okay? So let me go ahead and create a new folder, okay? And we're just going to call this one TrueNAS, okay? So right there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually open up my FS tab and make a change, okay? Now let me go ahead and open up a terminal. And I'm going to say, by the way, let me go ahead and get my my NeoVim up and running. Okay. Ooh, it's kind of stuck, isn't it? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and close this. And let's go into FS tab. Okay. So actually, let's just do it the easiest way. It's micro etc FS tab. Okay. So in order to get your TrueNAS scale working like simultaneous to, and having it basically mount your TrueNAS directory into your local machine, you need to basically, gosh, I'm saying basically a lot, aren't I? I have an actual document that I should tell you about real quick. Okay, so it's actually on my Just a Guy Linux website. I'm kind of all over the place. Get with it, kid. And when I go over here to software and I talk about how to mount SMB shares, It's the same thing. You might want to take a look at this, okay? So what I'm going to do is mount this as a in the FS tab, okay? Actually, let me go ahead and copy this. So let's go over here to FS tab, and I'm just going to paste that in, okay? And let's go back to the beginning. So on mine, you know, I just need the IP address, 192.168. What is it? I even forgot what it was. 192, yeah, 254.186. So 254.186, and the share is actually going to be just my name. Okay, Drew. All right. Now, in order for me to get it just in my home directory, I'm just going to say home, Drew, and then it's going to say the directory that we created, this TrueNAS, I just add that, okay? You make sure you have a couple things installed. You want Samba installed or SMB share, and you also want CIFS utils installed. So I'm just going to use my name, which is, and then the password. All right. You know what I'm going to do, guys? I'm just going to turn the video off for like half a second. And put my password in. And save it and quit. There we go. All right, sorry. I think the password sometimes I just get like overly weird about it. So anyway, the FS tab should now mount on reboot. So let's just go ahead and do that real quick just to go with this. Okay, so I'm just going to reboot this machine. So that's one thing that I'm doing. And I'm going to show you a little bit more about something that I've been using. I don't know if this is something that is more, this is definitely not a Linux thing. This is something about workflow. Okay. So when I log back in and I open up my Thunar, TrueNAS should be, TrueNAS should be mounted. Of course, it's not. What did I do wrong? All right. Well, you know what I'm going to have to do? Well, I guess I'll have to. Okay. Sudo micro etc fs tab. All right. What did I do wrong? You can see it. Doesn't look like I did anything wrong. Weird. Okay. Well. Oops. Okay. Well, I don't understand, but TrueNAS. Strange. This is really strange. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep going because this is a live stream, right? Okay. It's really weird, though. TrueNAS. Huh. Oh, well. Okay, so one thing that I can't show you how to do unless I fix this, which is something that I should you know what? I don't know if D-Dubs is in the chat, but he always says you should definitely fix stuff while you're on stream. All right, let me look one more time. So let me go into here. Let me open this up and say micro this. Okay. And mode 6. Yeah, all this looks right. Oh, wait. No, it's not. There is a character mistake. All right, so that's a mistake. Maybe that's the... So let's go ahead and save this and close it. Was there? Let me look again, guys. Let me look again. There was a space between user and home. Drew and home. Yeah, that's intentional. That's actually intentional. Okay. Let me go ahead and close that and say sudo re. Let's do that one more time. Let's go one more time and see if that works. And if it doesn't, then we'll move on. Even though he says, fix the stuff. Fix the stuff on when you're on stream. Okay. All right. Let me see. If I go over here. Nope. That's annoying. Install CIFS utils. It's already installed. Install Samba share. Oh, that's not the right thing. It's Samba client. Sorry. It's already installed. All right. Well, yeah, I'm not going to do that apparently today. So I had a plan on doing this. I had a plan on doing this and making this part of the stream. Apparently, I am failing frickin' miserably. Okay. And the reason why, permission denied. Let me look at my own notes real quick. How about that? Let's see. I don't understand. Anybody got any ideas? I don't know. So TrueNAS. Actually, let's do it this way. LS and then TrueNAS. mean, hmm. Touch. Weird. All right. Okay. Moving on. This is disappointing though, because I really had a good idea about doing this today. So TrueNAS, because okay, so here's what I am going to say about this. Okay, if you decide that you want to say open this, or let's say send this to side panel. Okay. Oh no, I don't want to do that. Sorry. Okay, what I want to do is mount this. Close. And I say, I want to send this to the side panel. Send to side panel. Okay. If you do this, and then I would like rename it, not rename this to just projects. Okay. And if you do this, and then you say, okay, and then you go into this, and if you go into this directory, and then you want to be able to just say, I want to pull this up with my Genie. You cannot do it. But if you mount it to this TrueNAS over here, so where it says like home user TrueNAS, okay, and then it's there, then you can like open things up from your NAS on your local applications. So no, I can't show you this, but that's what happens when you get this set up correctly. Okay. So let me just go back and just finish my thought about this. Okay. So what I'm doing these days, and I'm just saying, okay, I don't need desktop. I don't need trash. I don't want recent. And then that's pretty much it. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put these over here on the left, and I'll have one projects, 2 areas, 3 resources, and 4 archives. Okay. And I'm using those as my primary directories. Okay. The reason why I'm doing that is because I saw a video by this guy. His name is Tiago Forte, and he does have a lot of good YouTube videos, just in case any of you are interested in that. So this is called the PARA method, and the PARA method is about productivity and organizing your digital information. And so with projects, you're looking at things and deadlines with specific outcomes that you're actively working on. With areas, you're talking about like ongoing areas of interest, which might include like health and finances, or some type of development. With resources, you would be talking about like maybe, to me, I use it for both future interest as well as like, let's just say your pictures directory. So that would be, to me, that's kind of like a resource that you would use and again and again. So I use that. And then with archives, that's self-explanatory. I kind of move things over that doesn't need to be in any kind of like with any time constraint. Okay. So that's really my goal, was to show you how to do that today. And, for whatever reason, I just couldn't get the, on my main machine, it works flawlessly. I just, put that out there. So anyway, the PARA method is something I've been trying out. If it's something that is interesting to you, give it a shot. Okay. So that was the files part of this this stream. Let's go into Firefox for a minute. Okay. And I want to talk about the applications and the extensions that I use for Firefox. So very first thing I'm going to do is customize the toolbar. I don't want this I don't need this. I don't want, you know, you can see I don't need any of this other stuff. I always remove a bunch of things from, so that I don't see them anymore. I do put home here. Okay. Let me move that. And then I will, like, what is this? Yeah, I don't need this anymore. The account. I try to make things as sparse as possible. I do put a, where is it? I'm looking for, sometimes I add library. Oh, there it is. New private window. I kind of put that there up in the corner. Okay. And then I say done. All right. Now, we've talked a little bit about this in the past. It's Firefox. Okay. Now with Firefox, no, it is a user.js file. Okay. And for right now, it's only a month and a half old. And so it's really good. So we've talked about how it basically turns off a lot of the telemetry for Firefox. Okay. So it makes it a much hardened thing. And I'm looking at Maria there in the chat, and she says she's using LibreWolf. And that's fine. It does a lot of the things that we're talking about without any interaction from me. I want to kind of like control all the things, and you still have even if you were using LibreWolf, you can definitely control what you're doing by going into the config. But for me, I like actually modifying it myself and tailoring it to my user experience. Okay. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, like, here's the sync thing and bookmarks. And if you go into settings, it's going to have like standard and passwords and stuff like that are going to be on. Okay. So what I'm going to do basically is go over to where I have my, it's under projects maybe, or no, I think it's actually under areas. Oh, okay. I modified it. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go into Mozilla. Okay. And let's go ahead and make sure that this is turned. Let's go ahead and close this for now. Okay. And then I'm going to go into Firefox, and here's under this ESR. Okay. I'm just going to delete everything. Okay. Let's go ahead and delete everything. And then let's just paste that user.js right there. Okay. And let's go ahead and actually look at this. So this is the one that I've been using. All right. And let me go ahead and move this over to workspace 2. Okay. Did I not change font? Yeah, I need to sauce regular. Thought I'd changed it. Okay. View, turn off the sidebar. Okay. So this is basically the same thing as Firefox, except when I get down here. Okay. When I get down to overrides, all right. These are a couple overrides that I've included for me. So I want to turn off the FX accounts. I want to turn off well, actually, I'm not sure what I'm doing here. This is something, disable the Firefox view tour from popping up. Okay, so there you go. Disable the login. I don't want to remember things, sign in, stuff like that. I don't want it to do credit card management or anything like that. I do set this this DNS warden up. Okay, I have commented this out because I've been thinking a little bit more about this. But new page, I turn off the top site. So basically, when I do this, it's going to just show nothing. Okay. And then you can see the only other thing that I did change. Okay. So let's go ahead and back over here, and let's go ahead and close this. and let's reopen Firefox. Okay. Now, notice there's nothing here. There's no like suggested things. It looks like actually, oh, because I customized the bar, but then I removed that customization. So let me do this again real quick. Okay, let me move this and this, and this needs to go. And let me move this. Let me move this back over here to, and I want a home here, and that should be good. And done. Okay, so this is what mine kind of looks like. Not exactly, but mine kind of looks like this. Okay, and so with the newer versions of Firefox, you can have like your sidebar panels and stuff like that. I mean, in terms of like moving the address field over, and tabs are going to be over here. I haven't found that I like that. I don't know about you guys. I don't know that, at least it's not for me yet. I've tried using kind of like side tabs in the past, and it just hasn't worked out well for me. Okay. So this is kind of what I like to use, but let me tell you about the extensions that I use. So I'm going to go into settings and extensions. Did I not click on that? There we go. Now I use 4, and that is all. Okay, because the ones like, for example, the BetterFox setting has always said use uBlock origin. Okay, so one of the first things I'm going to do is uBlock. Okay, and let's add that to Firefox and add. And yes, I do allow it in private windows. Okay. Now, when I look at this, here we go. Yeah. Go ahead and, sorry, I'm going to close this real quick, and then I'm going to go back over here more. Manage extension. That's what I was looking for. Sorry. Sometimes I forget. I'm looking for preferences. I don't know why I can't find anything today. Nothing's working for me. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Okay, so filters. Nothing was working for me today. All right. So I do add a few more filters. Like I take this easy list, I turn it on, take this and turn it on, and that's about it, actually. I just add those two, okay? To add those two. Okay. So update. And there you go. All right. The other ones that I do add, I mean, it's these again. This you can basically come up with your own list. I like the copy plain text. I know that it's not for. I mean, it's. I don't think. I think it's kind of just like, it's kind of useful. But like if you're here and you just want, or sorry, if you're here and you just want, copy that and say, copy plain text. So that way it doesn't take on. The attributes of the text that you're copying, just personal thing. Okay. Another thing that I use is Flockus. Okay. Flockus is for bookmarks. And instead of using the bookmarks that are built in to, I always set up my Flockus to synchronize with my Nextcloud instance. Okay, so with Flockus, you would add a profile here. I won't do that. I mean, you would log in to your Nextcloud, and it would then sync if you have the bookmarks. If you have bookmarks installed on your Nextcloud instance, that way you kind of like always have a copy in your Nextcloud, and I would rather self-host my bookmark manager. Okay. So that's another thing that I do. And then probably my last one that I'm just going to talk about is Proton Pass. I know that most people I don't know about most people, but a lot of people use something like Bitwarden. I have an account with Proton, and I actually my personal opinion is I like Proton Pass more than I like Bitwarden, and it's a fact. I mean, I don't know how to describe what I like about it better. It just seems like I enjoy the interface more. And then the autofill is very, very good for two-factor authentication. And the other thing that's really good is the ability to create simple login and passwords for basically throwaway. So if you're like at a website and they want you to, create a login or whatever, and you don't want to use your main email for it, it has the ability to just like create a dedicated email address for that particular thing. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Bitwarden worked fine for me for years as well. In fact, I even paid the $10 per year for the, to upgrade, and had no problem in doing so. It's fine. I actually like Proton Pass. So those are my extensions that are kind of like have to have. So the last thing that I want to talk about today is search. Okay. And this might get me banned from YouTube, but okay, whatever. So Firefox uses, let's go back over here to settings. Okay. Firefox uses Google, clearly. Okay. And then they have all this other stuff, including, DuckDuckGo and eBay and so on. So you can have these, but the weird thing about it is Google, and we know this for a fact, Google's getting worse and worse when it comes to search because of AI and because they're trying to sell you on stuff. Okay. So what I'm thinking about, so let's just say well, actually that's not a very good thing. Let's say FS tab, that's not going to give me a good thing. Oh, let's just say FS tab. It doesn't matter. So it's going to give me the AI overview, and it's going to give me stuff that maybe I don't want. Okay. DuckDuckGo is very good, by the way. Yeah, I agree. Okay. I choose to use something else. So another thing that if you want to, you can go over here to web, and that will give you basically a different view for your search results. So instead of all where it gives you the AI overview and a bunch of stuff, you can definitely come over here to web, and it gives you just search results. Okay. So I like that. I also like doing something like self-hosting. Okay. So I'm going to go back over to my Nextcloud. I'm going to go back over to my TrueNAS scale. Okay. I think I misspelled my password. Looks like I did. Okay, let me do that again. Okay. So under my apps in my TrueNAS instance, okay, I have a few things. I use Cloudflare, Olama, OpenWeb, because I'm actually doing my own self-hosting interface for AI AI engines and stuff like that, or LLMs. And then I also use search ng. Okay, so searching, if you want to call it that. Let me just go ahead and upgrade these. Okay, so searching is something that I know Matt has spoken about on his channel. Okay, and what it's doing is this self-hosting. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this at some point. All right, and then you go into preferences and you can set which engines you want. All right. So right now it's using a kind of a meta search for using Brave, DuckDuckGo, Google, and if you want, you can turn any of these off. In fact, if you don't want to be tracked at all, and you still want to use Google as a search, then you can just basically leave this as the only one on, but it will strip out all of the tracking. Okay. You know, you can, but with self-hosting, okay, we're going to, let's just go back over here for a second and save. All right, and so I'm going to do the same fs tab search. Okay, Wikipedia is installed, but then you can see like DuckDuckGo, Brave, Google, where the resource is coming from here. Okay, so this is something that I enjoy using. I enjoy using my own search results. That's not my search result, but my own search interface, as opposed to going somewhere where it could be tracked. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, like I said, I think I copied this, but I'm going to go over and change the way the settings for this. And I'm going to remove everything that I don't like. Okay. And I'm going to add a few things back. Now, by doing that, I'm going to go, so I'm sorry for not being as prepared as maybe I should be, but I'm going to go to github.com/ and then Butterscripts. Okay. And this is something I do for browsers. There is a custom search script. So what I'm going to do is show you that script. Let me go ahead and save this. Save this page as, I'll just leave it in downloads. Okay. And let's go over here and we're going to chmod. Oh, nope. I'm not in. So let's go to the downloads directory and chmod +x custom search. Okay. And let's V into custom search. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and close this for now. All right. So what it's going to do is going to allow you to add your own searching IP address, or if you set it up. So like I actually have a custom URL for my searching instance. I'm not going to obviously display that here, but there's other things that you may want to include. So I'm going to remove all of the stuff that was there, including Bing, Google, Bing, Wikipedia, and so on. And I'm just going to put in the Google Web, Google Images, Google News, and Google Maps. Okay. So that I can go directly to a specific search for Google. Now, once I do this, I think you'll have a better understanding as to what it will be. So I did close. Let me go ahead and let's go ahead and open that back up one more time. Okay. And let's look at the settings on this and search. Okay. So all of these will be changed. This is what I'm going to do right here. Okay. And so, but because I'm going to change them, I'm going to make sure that the browser is closed. All right. So custom search.s. Okay. So it did what I wanted it to do. All right. Would you like to add? Yes, I would. Okay. And I'm going to put in a custom URL. And for me, No, I guess I didn't. So it would be HTTP dot 186, and then, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to do this, am I? I guess I'm going to have to open it up again, aren't I? Because I don't remember the port number. 30053. Jesus. All right. 30053. Okay. And that should work. Now when I reopen everything, I'm going to be able to use these kind of like shortcut keywords and stuff like that. So this is the search part of it. Let me go over and open this up here. All right. Let's go in and take a look at the settings now and search. You know what it did wrong? God, this is the worst freaking stream ever. It was looking for Firefox. Let's do this again. My God, what a freaking idiot. Firefox install. I got work to do after this stream is over. Of course, it's not going to give me what I would need. Let's do it this way. Okay. This is the worst I've done on stream ever, I think. All right. Oop. Okay. This is what was supposed to happen when I did my script. This was supposed to happen. And okay. So okay, let's try that again. All right. Well, this is a D-Dub special. He's like, you should show that you mess up too. Yeah. Okay. All right. 4. All right. Let me go over and let's open up Firefox. Okay. Because I'm going to have to, let's set this as the default and skip. All right. Now I'm going to go ahead and close this and let's go into Mozilla Firefox and the released version here. And I am going to delete everything again. All right. And I'm going to put, was it documents or downloads? Nope. I think it's not sure where I put it, but all right, well, let's copy this, move that over, and Mozilla Firefox, look in here, and let's paste that, okay? So let's go ahead and open up Firefox again. Okay, there you go. And now, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. Okay, so what was I doing? Oh, settings. Let me go into settings, and there we go. There's this search stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close this, and then let's rerun this custom search again and say yes. And it's going to be a custom and HTTP colon slash slash 186 was it 192? Jesus. 192, 168, 254, 186, colon 30, is it 553? 30053. Okay. And now, if I go to Firefox, and I go into settings, search, there you go. Here's all these that I am hopefully going to be able to demonstrate here. So ended up that DuckDuckGo becomes the new default search engine. Okay. The other thing is I actually am going to use this searching, which is my particular self-hosted search, and then I will use the same thing here. Okay. So now when I go ahead and close, oops, sorry. Now when I go ahead and put in a new search, it's just going to say like, you know, FS tab. Okay. It's actually going to go to my instance of searching on my self-hosted, on my TrueNAS scale, and it will give us results. Okay. If I want to, I can always say Google, I think it's Google Web, and then say FS tab. Okay. And it will go to the web version instead of the all version where there's AI and stuff. Okay. Did something happen? Are you guys hearing me still, or? Looks like, I mean, it looks like I'm broadcasting. Okay. Anyway, same thing. If I say, if I go over to and say Google Maps, and then say, I don't know, Wendy's, it'll show where the Wendy's are near my, you know, near me. Okay. Stuff like that. So anyway, let me go ahead and close this and then go into settings again. So that's how I'm doing my search now. God, that was a freaking nightmare. That's how I'm doing my search now. I'm basically like putting in these keywords, and I'm using my self-hosted search more than anything else. And then, like I said, and you have control over what you see, and it strips out any type of tracking when you're doing it this way. So that was my goal. I had other goals too that ended up not coming to fruition today, but overall, this was the idea was to show you search as well as file management and how I set up Firefox. I might have only done one thing fairly well today, and it was this part. So anyway, if there's any questions, I'll leave it open to you for the next couple minutes. Otherwise, I will be signing off and working on the stuff that I messed up during this stream. So let's close this. By the way, this is my version of BSPWM, and by the way, fast fetch, because people didn't, people questioned whether I installed it or not. Oops. Oop. There we go. Refresh fixed it. Weird. So anyway, if there is nothing further, then I have work to do and I can fix some stuff that I broke. So anyway, thank you very much for watching this stream. I will not, I will never claim that this was a good one. But at the same time, I definitely appreciate for those of you that have been watching and for those of you that helped me out during the stream. There was a couple things that I think that I could have easily had gone astray and just like, you know what, screw this, I'm out of here. So anyway, I appreciate you that have watched, and I will see you soon. Oh, by the way, do I like Wayland? I don't know. You know, here's the thing. I don't use Wayland because I don't want to use, well, first of all, I could use Hyperland or nothing else because I'm not like, you know, I'm going to use a window manager or a compositor, and I don't want to use KDE, GNOME, or anything that is available on Wayland. Since I'm a Debian user, stability has always been my like primary. And you can't use you can't use Hyperland very well on Debian stable. You would absolutely have to use it on Debian testing. And that's not something I genuinely opt to do. I use Debian stable. And granted, there's not a lot of time between this version, you know, Debian 12, and when Debian 13 comes out. And for my money, actually, there is going to be a dedicated package for installing Hyperland on Debian Trixie. So that might be something I take a look at for sure. Overall, though, I'm happy on these window managers that have been kind of like stood the test of time, including BSPWM and DWM and so on. So to answer the question, it's okay. It's fine for, you know, I know that it's the way that of the future and I have to get used to it. But for right now, I don't have to. So anyway, take care and I'll see you soon.